And I told my dad, I said, Dad, you don't say I love you to me.
Mm.
And he said, Matt, I didn't even know that I didn't do that. And I was like, well, I'd like to hear you say it.
Woo! Welcome, one, welcome all to your space for everything empowerment. I am your host, Tariq Williams, and not only I am Vision of Hope, but we are Vision of Hope. You know what we do here on the Speak Your Vision podcast. It's about empowerment, mindset, health, authenticity, you being yourself. And I am so excited for this individual right here. I am not alone today, and I am so excited for this conversation because I know that this conversation is going to help out a lot of people. It's going to empower a lot of people. And I know this because I know that the first time I talked to this individual, he made me start looking at myself a little bit different. Truly capturing the essence of the person that I am. And I know that's what you do. So without further ado, we are going to introduce voice coach, Mr. Matt Berthot. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Yeah, Tyreek. That
Let's
was
get
that was awesome. That was hype. I was feeling that for sure, man. I got, it's always fun to be on a podcast with somebody that has the same energy. And uh yeah, man, today's a great day. Today's a great day.
Let's
Like,
go.
you got a baby on the way.
I do. I do.
It's coming in hot,
Woo, that's a
quick.
fact. That's a fact. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Let's go.
No, thank you. I'm so grateful to be on your show, man.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you were on my show, which will
yeah,
come out at some point.
yeah.
I don't know when, but it will come out.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I'm a voice teacher, voice coach. I help people with their spirit, their soul, and body coming together to come out of their mouth from their vocal cords to say hello. And I do that with craft, which is voice technique, artistry, which is storytelling, and performance magic, which you felt from Tyreek when he brought the thunder at the beginning of the podcast.
Let's go. That's
And I
it. That's
teach
it.
my clients how to get people to feel what you want them to feel and see what you want them to see.
And I like to think I brought this same energy for your podcast, but you really forced me to take some steps back and be like, what is the true answer to this question? And so maybe we're gonna tap into a little bit of that here with you today.
All right.
Uh, um, Language is very important to the Speak Your Vision podcast. So if you could describe your passion for wanting to help people find their voice in one word, what would that be?
Legacy.
Ooh, okay. Tell me about that. Why legacy?
I believe that our passion is linked to our pain. And not only our pain, but our family tree's pain. And so you wanted to go there, we're going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my passion is helping people let their spirit, their soul, and their body come together so it can come out and say hello. And the reason for that is because when I was in high school, my grandfather did not have those tools to speak his emotion, to tell people how he felt, truthfully, like with truth and honesty. And he took a shotgun to his chest and committed suicide when I was in high school. And my dad didn't take it real well. And so my dad would numb himself with food and drink. And my dad never yelled at us. He never called us names. He never hit us. But he never really like talked to us about the depth of emotion that he was going through, and then also to help us to whatever we were going through. And so, about 6 years ago, I was on the phone with my dad and I said, Dad, because I did all this work with these students. I've
Mm-hmm.
been teaching for 20 years private voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my students and my clients and people that were not my family, I love you. I care about you. I want to help you. I can feel you. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, you don't say I love you to me.
Mm.
And he said, Matt, I didn't even know that I didn't do that.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I'd like to hear you say it. And so I got to hear him say it for 2 years, Tariq. And then in June 2020, he passed away of the Widowmaker heart attack.
Mm.
And I saw in my family tree, not only in my family tree, but many people's family tree, that the expression of our emotion, whether it's positive or negative, joy or sadness, is not expressed in its full capacity the way it should be. And I knew that God, universe, whatever you believe in, was making me aware of this so that I could change my family tree forever and then also everybody else's. So that we could all be comfortable in our vulnerability of who we actually are, not who the world wants us to be.
Mm. Wow.
And it's something that is very precious to me that I get to work with people one on one and help them in that process.
Wow. All
I've done it
right.
for 20 years. It just, now it's evolved into, it's my full time job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's powerful, Matt, and I really appreciate you opening up and sharing your vulnerabilities with us. Matt, let me ask you, I want to go back to high school, Matt, for a moment.
All right.
Did you understand everything that you just told us right now? Was it confusing to you when you heard about your grandfather's passing? Like, how did you even begin to have a conversation with yourself in that moment?
I remember I was in my bedroom. I was laying on my bed, being a teenager. I was like a sophomore, junior in high school. It was football season. And I heard my mom yell and scream and cry. And I was like, what in the world? And I ignored it. And then I heard a, Matt, can I talk to you? Matt? And she started crying. She's standing in my doorway. Your grandfather, your grandpa Berthot, shot himself.
Mm.
And he committed suicide. And I'm sure she hugged me, but I didn't believe it. I remember being in our white Chrysler in the back seat and looking out the window and just staring out into space, being like, we're just going to visit Grandma and Grandpa Bertho at the farm. That's where we're going. And that's where we went. And he did it in the garage. And the garage was a place where he created, where he did woodwork.
Hmm.
He made frames for my Grandma Bertho so she could paint. They were both entrepreneurs. And I did not go into that garage. I did not go to, because they were Catholic, I did not go to the wake to view the body.
Hmm.
And the day of the funeral, I still didn't believe it. I walked into the church. I looked to my right. And in that time, in the 90s, Catholic churches, they're pretty open with death. And they had the casket lid open.
Hmm.
And I saw my grandpa lifeless there. And I just lost it. And I just started bawling and crying. And I cried the whole service. And we went to the cemetery, and I'm still crying. And I came up to my dad, and I looked at him and hugged him, and I said, "Don't you ever do this." Because I knew he also had the depth of capacity of feeling that my grandpa does, and that I do, and that my two sons do now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my job to teach them and to teach others how to express it in a healthy way, how to get help, how to manage it. But what I've learned in this journey, Tariq, is the capacity of our energy, our spiritual gift of spirit and soul. It expands as we grow, as we are disciplined in faith and our meditations and our prayer, and it expands and it expands and expands. And it's our responsibility that when we are in that dark place, there are some people that just can't handle it. They can't take on that capacity of energy because it's literally too much. And I've had to experience that in my life many times, when I got negative, and I would essentially hurt people because they would feel they would feel me at such a deep level that it made them so uncomfortable, and that made me feel like it's my fault.
Wow.
When I was just made like this, man.
Right.
Like, my highs and my energetic positivity is contagious, just like yours. But man, when I'm sad and I walk in the room, you're gonna feel it. And it's a gift, but it's something also that I have to learn to manage,
Yeah.
so that not everybody has to feel the depth and the capacity of energy inside that emotion.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it. I mean, I'm talking on your podcast. People are going to listen to this, and they're going to be able to listen to it and feel it, because they're not going to listen to it and feel it in the depth that I had to go through it. The first time I talked about it, there was no filter. Everybody felt it. And it would hurt people. It would trigger people. And so I'm able to talk about it now because, one, it's my career to help people talk about these things in a way that brings you hope and love and wholeness. But the seed that I planted with the audience right now is that we're all supposed to feel, man.
Yeah.
We're all supposed to express ourselves. And we shouldn't be afraid of that. We just have to find out how to do it in a way that is honoring us as human, and also honoring our brother and sister, and not taking them into a tornado of depth, dark crap.
Amen. Amen. We got to be, as a society, we need to do a better job of lifting each other up. You know, Matt, before we continue moving forward here on this episode, I still want to tap into another piece here. And
Go.
thank you so much for sharing and opening up with this vulnerability. Because in the very beginning, you mentioned part of the reason why Grandpa Berthot took his life, a part of that was because, to my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong here, was that he was voiceless to some capacity. that he wasn't able to speak his truth. Is that basically what you were saying?
Well, that's what he was taught. And it wasn't that he taught it; he caught it too, right?
Hmm.
So his dad and his dad and his dad follow, and his dad
I
and
got you.
his dad, right? And in this case, that generation, moms, dads, people in general, they they, they didn't really express the emotion that we express today, the way we express it, it wasn't expressed like that when they were growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, they were voiceless. They they would go to church and get their fix, but if somebody was depressed, that word didn't even exist to them. They didn't even know what that meant, dude. Like they had no concept of it. I think they called it melancholy, right?
Right. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I just spoke about this story on another episode recently. It was either last week or 2 weeks ago. And I had a friend come up to me about a difficult situation he was going through and how he asked me, Tariq, do you feel like I handled this appropriately?
Hmm.
And I said to him, well, here's the situation. There's two ways of thinking about this because he didn't say anything, right? So I said, did you actually let it go? And you were able to let it go and you feel comfortable with where we're at? Or did you suppress your emotions? Those are two different things.
That's a
And
great question.
and so if you actually were able to let it go, I'm good. We're cool. Um, I'm okay with it. But if you suppress the person who you are, you suppressed for whatever reason, that's an issue because it's lost in you somewhere now, and it's probably going to come out at a time
Mm.
where it doesn't need to, and
Yep.
or a time where you might not be ready for it, etc.
Yes. Yes.
So, and it seems like that's what happened to your grandfather. Would you
Well,
agree? Or
yeah. Oh man, how deep do we want to go today?
let's do it.
Um, when I went to therapy for the first time when I was 23, I lost my job at CompUSA because I was moonlighting on the side and making some extra cash for a college student and helping people with their home network. And I got I got found out and got let go. And my heart intention was in the right place. I was helping this guy, right? But business wise, that was a no go.
Hmm.
And I got really sad, really depressed, and my girlfriend at the time said, "Hey, I think you should talk to a therapist on campus. It's $5. It's $5
Wow.
to go talk to a therapist because they're therapists in training. They need hours, right?" And so I went to this therapist. I met with her for a long time,
Hmm.
and there was this moment. So we're gonna do a little timeline here. But there was this moment that she goes, "Matt, how does mom handle conflict?" And I said, well, she goes into her room, she locks the door and cries. And then she comes out. That's what she does. How's your dad handle conflict? I said, he goes outside, he cooks chicken on the grill, he drinks like a six pack. That's how he handles it. And then she said, how are you handling conflict, Matt? And in that moment, I realized, boy, I am locking myself in my apartment. I'm playing Madden football, and I'm drinking, and I'm not going to class, and I'm failing. And she goes, you caught it. You were taught that also, just like you were with your language. And then she said, a groundbreaking moment as a therapist for her, and I use this constantly to help people. She said, well, how do you want to handle conflict, Matt? And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, you have that choice. How do you want to do it? And I was like, I want to attack it. I want to attack it head on. I don't want to just beat around the bush. Like, I want to attack conflict. She goes, okay, well, that's what you're going to do then from now on.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, let's go. And then when I became a teacher, kids would just dump all of this stuff on me, trauma, the darkest stuff you possibly could imagine because of who I am. And I didn't know who I was then. And so I started seeing my first mentor and therapist, Dean Hall. He's amazing. Shout out to Dean.
Shout out Dean. Let's go.
And Dean taught me about hypnotherapy.
Okay.
And in turn, I was exploring how to get in shape. I weighed like 245 pounds and 272 pounds, something like that. And so, you know, I started reading this book called 4 Hour Body. And Tim Ferriss talks about cold water therapy. And this was like, 15, almost 17 years ago.
Before it was cool.
Yeah, before it was cool. And I started doing it. And I was telling Dean how it made me feel. And I was like, man, you should do this, dude. You should totally do this. Well, now Dean is like the guru of cold water therapy, bro. Like he lives in Washington State, and he goes out into the wilderness, into like a glacier stream, and he swims, and he is in nature and doing that all the time, bro. Like he is like the epitome of a mountain man. But I started getting decent at hypnotherapy and meditation and visualization, and my energy started to expand. And I was like, man, what is going on with this, Dean? He goes, Matt, someday, this was when I was 30. He goes, I see you as a really fit, strong man outside running. And you have created the Matt version of how to do voice. He literally said that.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't see that, dude. What are you talking about? He goes, that's what I see, Matt. But he planted a seed of hope. And did I know I could do it? Yeah. Did I know how much work it would take? Yes. And that was why I didn't want to do it. And I didn't feel worthy of it, right? And so fast forward to where I'm at now, spiritually. The last 3 months have been God bringing me back into the fold. God saying to me, Matt, it's time to share the gifts. It's time to be the spiritual father that you've always been meant to be. It's time to help people see their spiritual gifts like you always have, but let's say what it is, because that's what it is, Matt. And it's time for you to help more people. The right people.
Wow.
But I had no clue that it would turn into this.
Yeah.
Because there's no blueprint for what I'm doing, man. Like, I know there are like voice coaches and voice teachers out there, but what I'm doing, there's no blueprint. Like, there are people that kind of do it and kind of do what I'm doing, but the actuality of what I'm actually doing with people, I'm bringing out the real of them, like the real version of them. I'm helping them get to that point.
Yeah. Matt, listening to you speak, it just there's such a light and a flow of energy about it.
Mm.
Um, and I had so many thoughts in my mind.
Shoot.
I'll start off with the first one. As you know, Matt, I'm a problem solving coach. I work with individuals, working professionals, getting that clarity and direction.
Oh yeah.
When you talked about conflict, so often I like how you said we're attacking conflict because
Yep.
so often when we're talking about conflict, we're talking about what conflict is doing to us.
Mm.
We don't talk about what we can do to our conflict. We don't talk about the control that we can have in this particular situation. So, what is it we're really doing? We're giving more power to our conflict and less
Mm.
power to ourselves.
Mm.
The second piece I wanted to discuss with you is like, I'm sure that as you've gone along your spiritual journey and how God has spoken to you, but let him speak through me for a moment.
Oh, I'm ready. Come on, Tyree. Let's go.
Matt,
Speak.
you need to, so I really want this to be understood. Do you understand that you are breaking the trend? You are delivering power to your family that they haven't had for the last ever. You talked about this before. Your father's father, your father's father, your father's father. Tariq, you see it? Like you caught it. You
Mm-hmm.
are the catalyst that's going to change the lives of your family's future and beyond.
Yep.
And not only that, you said, you said, you said, wait a second, Tariq, I'm going to take this a step further. There are people kind of doing what I'm doing, but they're not actually the catalyst. They're not actually doing it. And so you decided to take it upon yourself
Mm.
and be able to deliver this gift to people around the world.
Yep. And
Go ahead. Go ahead.
about 3 months ago or 4 months ago, before like the God pause is what I'm gonna call it.
Mhm.
Um, I realized my mission statement and my reason, my purpose, my assignment, like my boy Lamont Love gave me. He was one of my clients, and he said, "Man, it's our assignment, Matt." I was like, "Woo! I love that, Lamont. Taking it."
My boy Jalen, he's a director, and he was directing this short film. And I didn't, I assume this is why he was asking me this question. But he said to me, Tariq, I'm not talking about your eyesight or anything like that. I know that, vision and future is really important to what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Tariq, what does your vision mean to you?
Mm.
And I gave him a couple sentences, but ultimately it's this one liner. My vision is my responsibility. Your vision is your responsibility.
Yep. Amen. And I,
You have the gifts. You might need to find a way to take it out of you, but once you see the vision, once you see the gift, once you see what's possible,
mhm.
it's your responsibility to go out there and make it happen.
So one of the things that I teach my students and my clients is
Yes.
this, to build on that. Why is your dream and not mine? Why is your dream planted in you and it's not my dream? Don't you want to find out? Don't you want to find out why that vision and that dream is your dream that was planted inside of you and it's not mine and it's not hers or his? Why is it yours? That's the call. That's the mission. That's the assignment.
Yeah.
All right? And so my assignment before the last 3 months happened was simply I help people let their soul come out and say hello.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nice. But it wasn't the whole story.
Mm.
And what hit me 4 months ago is I said, people. It wasn't like, we have these business coaches that say, you need to put a number on it. Well, I can't put a number on people.
Mm.
And so what does that mean? It means people. It means everyone. It means the whole world. And when I felt the weight of that, Tariq, I was like, oh, God. Legacy. Now I must write the book. I must speak more. I must help more people. Because it's people. The people of the world, their kids, empowering everybody.
Yes.
To shine the light that's inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this. I don't know if you said this on our podcast, but my favorite moment when I go to Christmas Eve service is taking the candle that gets lit by the person that comes down the aisle, and I'm in my pew, and they light my candle, and then I get to light Max's candle or Leo's candle. And someone said this to me the other day. They said, Matt, that candle that's lit, that fire, when you light someone else's candle, your candle doesn't blow out.
Mm.
I was like, whoa, that is so true.
Yeah.
But it made me realize the energy that's inside of us that we feel, that's that excitement, that joy, that love, that bliss, the wholeness. When we're in flow state, when we're in spirit.
Yeah.
That's the light. That's the glow. When people say, man, Tariq, you're glowing. I'm lit up.
Yeah.
I'm lit up in the spirit. My soul and spirit and body are complete right now.
Yes, sir.
And they can shine.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just body, we don't shine. If it's soul, there's no way it can shine because the body is not connected. Right. If it's just spirit, it's just floating out there. But if they're all doing this, and you're in a career and a job and a purpose and a mission and an assignment where all these get to come together, you are living the dream. You are living the vision. You are living the calling, the assignment, the mission of why you were put on this earth. And finally, after 47 years, in this moment, right now at Tariq, there is no other place that I'm supposed to be on earth other than this moment. And my hope is that all of you that hear this message get to live that your whole life.
So, Matt, other people, right? Because we've already decided, we've understood, we've discovered the fact that people don't always understand the power of their voice and their ability to be able to speak and, shed a light on their voice and let their true souls come out and say hello and actually fully tell the story. But you mentioned about other people and all those different things. Well, tell me why. Why is this such a struggle for people?
I think as we grow up, we're influenced by our environment, and we are told to shut up. We are told to be quiet. We are told not to cry. We are told don't be too loud. We are told don't get too excited. We are told, why are you sad? What's wrong with you? You're extra. I got made fun of in college because I didn't know what I was saying, Tariq. I was in my 20s. I had no idea what I was saying, but I would say, "Man, I feel that. I feel that. Do you feel that? Do you feel that song? Do you
Yeah, yeah.
feel that emotion in that song? Do you feel that? I feel that. I feel that when I sing that. Do you hear the people sing, singing the songs of angry men? They are the music of a people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drum, there is a life about to start when tomorrow comes." Now it's Les
Mm,
Mis. I fell in love
mm,
with that musical when I was in high
mm-hmm.
school, and I was like, I feel this. I feel Jean Valjean. I feel Garth Brooks. I feel Boyz II Men. I
Yeah,
feel Bon Jovi.
yeah.
I feel Freddie Mercury. I feel Michael Jackson. Why do I feel it from those people, but other artists I don't feel it from? What is that?
Mm,
It's
mm,
because they're not connected. They're not feeling it. They're not in that emotion. And
mm.
so I would be walking up the steps to my dorm. I'm not going to name their names, but these two gentlemen would be like, "Oh, you feel it, Berto? You got to feel it? Oh, you
Mm.
feel it?" And in my head, I'd be like, "You keep talking because I'm going to steal all your solos. Every single one of them, they're mine." And guess what would happen at auditions?
Mm.
Who'd get the solos? Me.
Yeah.
I might not have been as talented or as technically savvy as these other cats, but man, when I got up on stage to audition, you felt me. And you're not going to forget me.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. So it's truly that taking the time to just feel, right? Taking the
Dude,
time.
it's a superpower.
Mm,
It's our superpower. Think
hmm.
about it. Can you see emotion?
You know, the outside world doesn't always understand the internal conversations that's happening with us. The outside world doesn't always understand what we're feeling,
No.
right? And so what it looks like to connect with you in a different way and to evolve the person who you are is incredible because I say this all the time. You're truly stronger than what you think you are. The world is going to give us every single type of excuse or reason to give up and not be the person that we were meant to be. But those are the lessons that we need to learn to continue.
Yep.
When I became blind, I thought the sacrifices my friends and family made for me were in vain
Hmm.
because I thought that my blindness defined the person who I was.
Mm-mm.
It's a part of me, but it's part of the lessons I had to learn to be able to talk to you today. You
Oh, you
talked
know,
about it earlier. You said that passion, that vision,
mm,
part of that comes from the pain and the possibly the family tree, whatever that looks like, whatever you've gone through. So you're speaking to the choir right now, Matt. So
yeah.
I'm here with you.
Well, I think I just had this thought.
Yeah.
Tariq, if you never told me that you were blind,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I identify with you as I love your hope, your energy, your positivity, your kindness, your exuberance, your your light, and it's always been strong since you're a little boy. It's always been like that. So if we could identify people as energetically, like who they actually are, like that's how I feel from you, that's how I see you. All right? And so I think because I went through that when I wasn't a choir teacher anymore, or I wasn't an athlete anymore, right? I became a music guy in college, and I was a jock boy that knew nothing about music. I didn't know how to play piano. I didn't know how to read music. I was an idiot. But boy, you know what I did have? Feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just like in wrestling, I remember I was like 8 or 10 years old at a little kids wrestling tournament, and I got so angry that I lost. I was crying. I would beat myself up after the matches, man. And Rudy Hernandez, he
Shout
comes
out Rudy
up to me.
Hernandez.
He puts his arms on my shoulders. He goes, Matt, all of this anger, use it for good. Use all that energy in the match to win. Mm-hmm. And it stuck. That moment. And how does God speak to us? God speaks to us every day. Every single day. In every moment of every single day, if you're paying attention. But what's really cool is to look back on your timeline of life and be like, oh, thank you for that moment. Thank you for that moment. I see what you were doing there. I see what you were doing. And I want to give this little gift to the audience. So how old is your audience generally, Tyreek?
Yeah, we're in the mid-20s
Perfect.
to 40s, yeah.
Beautiful. So when we're growing up, we have these legs of life. I'm just going to use my hands, like all these legs of life, right? And each finger is a leg of life. So it could be elementary school, middle school. It could be basketball. It could be music. It could be guitar, wrestling, the girlfriend that didn't work out. But in the moments, these are like lifetimes. These feel like they go on forever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We go to college. We master a craft. And for me, it was music theory. Oh, God. I was terrible at it. Piano, I was terrible.
Yeah.
Learning how to read music, I was terrible. I was a fake. I was a phony. I got called out in choir. People would make fun of me, and I was like, fine, I'm going to go to the practice room and figure out how to play my pitch by myself. But these were legs of life that literally felt like eternity. Let's get really real with it. When my dad died, when I got divorced, when I got my keys taken away in public school because they said that I bullied students and targeted them. And this was after COVID. And after COVID, everybody, got a little soft and they couldn't handle the truth. And I was teaching the same way. And in this podcast, you have felt my heart, you have felt my soul, you have felt my spirit. I would never hurt anyone. That felt like eternity.
Wow.
And so all of these legs of life, as you grow and as you get older, they start to come together. And what I am doing right now is the full expression of me, Matt Berthot. Because I have owned all my past mistakes and learned from them. But my wrestling background comes in clutch. My music background comes in clutch. Me going to Sunday school when I didn't want to, going to church, is coming in real clutch right now. Me teaching preschool when I was senior in high school, teaching Sunday school, preschoolers, is coming in clutch. Me looking up to Dr. Riney as a godly man and a great family man and a great energy guy is coming in clutch. Me going to therapy when I didn't want to is coming in clutch. And so keep going. If you think that this leg of life's going to last, it won't. That leg of life is just a part of the journey, man. Mm-hmm. It's just a chapter. It's just it's a part of it. It doesn't make you who you are. Tariq and myself identified who you are. your energy, your spirit, your soul. You're a body. And you get to experience this life on earth. And the more you lean into your mission and your assignment, the more whole and the more you're going to light up. And the world will be better for it.
Matt, when we think about, when I think about that light, right, that you discussed, it's interesting because you made me reflect a lot on my past.
Mm.
Ever since I was young, and so in talking to my mom and everything, she thought that my name would kind of went around the word love. Okay. But love isn't what my name actually means. And so I'm doing a lot of research,
Good
okay,
job.
on what the meaning of names are. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I bring this up to say because whenever we were in church or anything like that, if it was in school and I wasn't showing up in the way that my mom or grandmother expected me to or anything like that, my grandmother would always say, Tariq, let your light shine.
Beautiful.
My mom would always say, Tariq, let your light shine. And that was one of
Mm-hmm.
my favorite songs to sing in church. I'm gonna let it shine. That was
Yes, I love
me.
that song.
you
This little
know?
light of mine,
Woo!
I'm gonna let it shine.
Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Yeah, Tariq. We
so that
singing today.
was, come on now, come on now. And so I think about all those moments, and I'll tell you something kind of funny, and then I'll get to where we're going. So, um, I have some friends from the Middle East, and I always joke because they started telling me what my name really meant, right? And I did
Oh
some more
boy.
research, and I realized it because my name has Arabic roots to it.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
And it's funny whenever I get into an Uber or a Lyft or anything like that, I walk in the Uber and they're like Tariq, and they're really excited, right? Because they think I might speak Arabic or something. And I joke, it's like I'm this huge disappointment because I don't. And so I could tell that they're like, oh, okay, Tariq. But it's really funny. And my friend Mohammed and I, we talk about this. It's hilarious. But I bring this up because the meaning of Tariq is actually star.
Mm.
And there's a few more deeper levels to it, but specifically to what we're talking about here, star. What is a star? Star is that guiding light,
Mm. Energy. It's light.
that guiding light, that letting my light shine. Like even though that's what my name is. That's what my name is. And so, you know, your purpose is your purpose. We have to get out there and discover it.
Yeah.
And that goes for everyone.
Well, I think life is too short to not go for it, you
Yeah.
know? Like I think about what a waste this gift of life is if you don't try to discover why you're on this planet.
Right.
Like
Right.
if you don't even ask the question, why am I on earth? What is my mission? What is my assignment? If you don't ask that question, it's not going to be revealed ever because you're not ready for it.
And that is what makes me go back and think about the amount of change that you are making, Matt,
Mhm.
because all I can think about after you said that was what if Grandpa Bertho knew that?
Man. Yeah.
That's all I can think of. But you know it now,
Hmm.
and you are going to truly you've already made so much change. I could tell when someone is in your energy, they can feel it. Mr. Matt Berthot, it's an
Tariq.
honor being in your space.
Oh man.
It is an honor being in your space. It is a blessing to be in your space, to hear you storytell, to hear the way that you pour into people. I can't wait to be a part and see more of your journey. You know,
Thank
you would think that I know Matt Berthot now for a long time. It's maybe been a week,
Yeah.
more like two-ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the world, the Lord's going to put the people in your life that you need to know. And we discussed that the first time we spoke.
Yeah. Thank you for seeing me and hearing me, and most importantly, feeling me.
How do people get a hold of you? How do people work with you? How do people talk with you? Give us the goods.
Voice by Matt on Instagram. That's easy, right? Voice by by Matt Matt.
All right.
Just send me a message. You can email me at voicebymatt@gmail.com. I don't have any problem with that. My website is voicebymatt.com, www.voicebymatt.com. There is a booking link on there if you want to talk about how I could help you. Right now, I work with clients one-on-one. It's an 8-session program taking you from point A to point B. And we do it with craft, which is the voice technique. That's the foundation. So you don't lose your voice, because if you can't talk, it's kind of hard to express yourself with your voice. We do storytelling, which is artistry. And then what you felt today on this podcast. And thank you for letting me shine today, Tariq. Performance magic, getting people to feel what you want them to feel and see what you want them to see.
Everyone listening, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Berthot, everybody. You know, Matt, thank you so much for pouring into us today. Thank you so much for being here, being a light, being an example, letting people know that space, that empowerment, that magic is there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you, Tariq.
Voiced by Matt, everyone, everywhere. I like the branding. Very easy to follow. Voiced by Matt. That's it.
That's it.
I love it. It was so great listening to you, pouring into us. And once again, I am Tariq Williams, your problem-solving coach. This is the Speaker Vision Podcast, your space for everything empowerment. Not only I am Vision of Hope, but we are Vision of Hope. Let's get it.